Hello, everybody. This is Texas Danny, and I'm just doing a short video here on current Earth, uh, presently how it's situated. Uh, Today's date is Monday, September the 25th, 2023. It's early in the morning, and I'm just going by some observations because I'm watching still as the Mediterranean is continuously closing, getting smaller and smaller. Uh, all the stats still show the same mileage and so forth like that, but to the naked eye, I see all the changes. I also should add that as a person who's quantum affected, also known as Mandela affected, that I have a distinct different memory of Earth. Okay, the Earth I was on was much larger, and the gravity still was had an equivalent as to what it is right now, the way I feel it. And basically, very basically, very generally, the Earth kind of tries to keep a cohesive sort of memory as to what I remembered, but not exactly. It keeps on changing. Uh, for example, if I'll show you Italy or the Mediterranean was larger, and we had what we called the Straits of Gibraltar. That's the Straits, because the Rock of Gibraltar was out in the middle of the Straits. It was not off in the southern coast part here. Uh, Tunisia, Africa has moved up. Uh, the distances have closed in, apparently to the naked eye, as to the changes of the Earth. There are changes going on in the continent of Europe as it's becoming smaller. And I am concerned in watching what I call the Geneva Wave area. Okay. And that's essentially the Alps and around Geneva. Geneva is important. And the moisture that goes up into the Alps, the Liechtenstein, and the changes, for example, with Austria. Austria has its border being pulled down to a southeast position. Now, in prior, Austria would have been shaped. Here you see Austria would have been more of a east to west, but that would have or west to east. That would have been all of Europe. Now it's kind of been sloped over and kind of has a south to north accent. But because all of our areas are changing and getting smaller, this is affecting how borders are in relation to each other. Now, the Geneva Wave, all this moisture right out through here, uh, is part of, I think, the fuel for the terraforming or the changes, part of the mechanizations. Uh, for example, here's the what I call the Carpathian Wheel, Romania, right? That is a kind of a part of a mechanization. The same kind of thing goes down into the Aegean. We have Crete getting closer to the North African coast and vice versa. So I think it's not going to be too long before we see the Straits of Crete. Now, the affected will be able to remember this and know it and watch and observe how the Earth is changing. I believe that the residents are unable to perceive these things. They can't see them. They live in the present moment, day to day, and they take the updates or the downloads, whichever way you want to take it. But the current information gets updated and changed to them, and that's what they know, and they assume that's what it's always been. Hence, they're not able to see or appreciate the changes that are rapidly evolving all over the earth. The Sahara is changing rapidly. Political countries that did not exist just a few years ago, for example, in 2020 versus 2023, Burkina Faso. There was somebody, and I'm sorry, I forget their handle or their name, but they let me know about Burkina Faso. they clued me on, hey, we got new countries in here. I looked, and sure enough, I don't remember what the country was that was in here before, but it's changed. We can appreciate the changes that they happen, and we can also see the changes in the topography of the maps, the colorizations, the codes. As Nigeria used to be a much more green country all the way around, and it's getting more and more light here, but it's going up to the Chad area, to the Chad Rift, and this is working itself into the Sahara. The Sahara is rapidly changing its geography. It's rapidly becoming more and more different. I was stationed on a radar base in Turkey, in northern Turkey, and before I even went to Turkey, when I was in the U.S., looking at books and stuff like that and maps as to where I would be going, things are different here. That northern coastline has changed, and the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea has changed. We have changes to Turkey. Turkey, also like Austria, was more of like a west to east country. But as we've gone down and the changes in the globe have happened, and I'm assuming a globe perspective, I'm not a flat earther, but at the same time, I'm open to the examination of whatever the environment is now, because we do not understand where we're at. We don't understand the true nature of the reality that we are in. Now, with Turkey going down and changing, this has caused rifts all through the country of Turkey and the area of around Adana, Adana did not exist for me in my prior reality where I was. And here it's opened up and become bigger and bigger. And I think we're going to have retrocausality happen, and I think we're going to have things go in there that are coming from the past into the present, because the past is becoming the present. You have changes into Syria, Lebanon, down to Israel, all through in here. We have water rapidly increasing and becoming larger here in Syria, okay? And I think to some extent, it is possible the governments here have quantum computers and that they can sense or know that they are under some extraordinary changes to the planet, possibly. But again, I say the basic human being here, a different version of a human being than what I was. I was not exactly the same as I am here now, but that person, these people are living in the present day. They have an extremely good view of the earth on the day that they observe it, but they don't know what the day before was like. As far as they're concerned, it was always that way. There's been no changes. It's always been that way. Caspian Sea used to be larger, have a more north to south expression, and we've had a lot of declination in the southern end right here. But we're having effects happen all over Earth. Up until recently, we had a discolorization to the Antarctica. For some reason, we had 1/3 of it striped in a bright white kind of paint block or something like that. I do think they're painting this quite a bit. We're getting the coverage over it. You're not getting to see exactly what's going on there, but now it's back to a more uniform color, except around right here. Now this brighter white, okay, used to be more prevalent on 1/3 of Antarctica. And I could understand that they have formats for their plates or whatever like that they use to do these pictures of Earth that they may, for example, update every 6 months or update every year or every 2 years, whatever. And I wouldn't doubt that they've got plates stacked on top of each other that get formed together to make up the pictures. We have a lot of changes to the southern part of the Amazon. The state of Mato Grosso is especially losing its heavy foliage from the Amazon. Lake Titicaca is very, very important. The Andes Mountains here are much more shallow because on my Earth, South America was hundreds and hundreds of miles further west, directly under North America. North America is not placed exactly or shaped exactly like it was before. We have a lot of changes to the Gulf of California. The Gulf of California is steadily widening, and Mexico is losing its west coast. Okay, as a matter of fact, the whole country of Mexico is becoming more and more narrow and losing beach line. We have a lot of subaquatic activity here, hundreds of miles south of Mexico, where I also was before. Baja California was not nearly as long as this, and the west coast of Mexico came out further on the eastern side from Baja California. The coastline came out much further and went more further south than this inclination it has to go southeast. The Yucatan also was larger. See that pale blue outline? It would have been the size of the Yucatan Peninsula and the Yucatan Peninsula would have been about right here. Okay, no wonder the Earth's climate is changing because the Gulf of Mexico is much smaller here. It's getting much smaller, and we have tracts through here which are showing up, which is the Gulf of Mexico tract, the Honduras tract, and the Barbados tract. These are all leading out. Here you can see where the Barbados tract is, where the edge of the pin is, where Barbados. That's pushed out. And I was on a show with Lucky Bulger in Ireland, right? He was doing a stream, and he happened to mention, he says, hey, Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic have been pushed way out. I hadn't looked at that before he saw it, but I noticed it, and yes, they are much further out now. But that makes sense because we are winding in all the time. We are literally going down. We're going down, and we're going primarily the coast line of, say, North America here is being pushed east, but all the continents are being pushed together. Our mechanization comes in the form of H2O and water as it goes up into the atmosphere off of Greenland, okay? And that's being worked constantly, and that is helping to change the rates of our changes to have them go have us become smaller. That's being worked into both our terrain, our subaquatic, and subterranean also is being changed. We've got this going on right now. It's a slow process, a very slow process, but it's happening. I'm sorry, I'm getting out of picture here. But we have South America continuously, ever surely, slowly going towards Africa and vice versa. We have the things that are happening in the South Atlantic that are working our way up from the Alpha of Antarctica, and we have a split coming into Africa. Africa is splitting. It's splitting open on its eastern side, and we have changes, though, are going up into the Sahara, and then we have changes to the Red Sea, and we have some significant changes to the bottom of the Red Sea. I'll show you an example. That little point right there, you see just above the pin, that's come out. That's gotten bigger. These islands here are quantum. I watched them come in after 2017. I should note that I quantum jumped in June of 2016, and my eyesight was messed up, and I've never fully recovered my eyesight. My eyesight always has this strange glow of light. With any light source has a strange extra glow, a strange extra shimmer. Matter of fact, when I look at Greenland up here, and I try to look at the picture where it's all white, and I can see a lot of ice coming off the Greenland coast, all the way around. A lot of ice has come off that Greenland coast, but I also see fluctuations in Greenland that the picture doesn't stay static for me. I should also mention that I do observe changes to print form media and the general media as well. In other words, as the map to Google Earth changes, so does the maps of printed material that I look at, and so does modern media as it portrays any land masses or sea masses or the continents or whatever also changes over. Again, we've Crete coming down. I think we're going to see the Straits of Crete. When it arrives there, it's going to be to the residents. That's the way it's always been. For example, it's about 100 and something miles from the North African shore, and when it gets, I think, further, and it's constantly come down. It's down about 200 miles, 250 miles from where it started, and we've had again. You had Turkey more or less positioned west to east, and it's gotten smaller. And when it's gotten smaller, it's pivoted over. It's come down to where it's heading more southeast. There's a movie called Inglourious Basterds 2009, which has a segment which shows Hitler in the movie slamming the table, saying no, 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 or 99999, and the background is a map. I watched that map change over the years watching that movie and watching how it changes and so forth like that. Very important is Area 42 here. That's Giza. I'm designating that Area 42 for a reason. Those pyramids are very, very important. On my reality, we had a large pyramid, a medium-sized pyramid, and a small pyramid. Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear pyramid. And in size, here there's like two Papa Bear pyramids and a Mama Bear pyramid in size, or two large pyramids and a medium-sized pyramid. And I think that's important because in retrocausality, as we go back into time and we are changing, that past is coming into this present. And that is changing things. We're having the effects happening to the Sahara that go over to the Atlantic, that come over. Let me see if I can't find South America again. They come into South America, right? And that civilization and its encounters and its placements and that kind of thing like that. And we're going to see quantum retrocausality updates in the Amazon as well, to the Caribbean, the Bahamas, North America. We have an interesting situation where I think that the past has expressed itself in the Grand Canyon. And now I do have to kind of advise that on these discoveries and so forth like that, it is a kind of a strange matter because I am worried that some of this information is too convenient, like a program, like a play, a narrative for you, if you will, like something that's just working itself out. It's just something that you see a lot when you look at YouTube or some of the other material, Twitter or what's X now. We have subaquatic activity everywhere on Earth. We have had a lot of things going on with New Zealand and Australia. We have up the Banda Sea, the Indonesia and stuff like that. This has changed quite a bit from my past reality where I was. Again, my Earth was bigger. What confuses me is gravity appears to be the same now. My anatomy is different here as well, though. So the hands are slightly different. We had had a different skeleton, that kind of thing. But we should expect developments off of Indonesia, off of Australia, off of New Zealand, with the trench and pushing all the way past French Polynesia and before Chile in the southern Pacific is a lot of subaquatic activity going on as well. Again, we've had changes to Antarctica, and the changes there, we seem to still be in a constant push to change. Okay, Texas Danny out. Thanks for the listen.